The sky above the colony was a strange shade of green that day, a color that made the human settlers uneasy. The wind blew through the tall grass, carrying the scent of metal from the mining machines, and the chatter of workers filled the air. Life on the planet Yalara was supposed to be peaceful. Humans had arrived here 10 years ago, seeking a new beginning far from Earth's crowded cities and constant wars. They built farms, small towns, and research stations, all in harmony with the planet's strange but beautiful nature. But all of that peace shattered in an instant. A shadow passed over the colony, blocking the sun. People looked up, shielding their eyes. At first, they thought it was a storm or one of Yalara's rare dust clouds. Then the shadow moved faster, faster than anything they had ever seen. The sky split with a sound like thunder, but sharper than any storm. A massive fleet of alien ships descended from the atmosphere, so large that the ground trembled as they landed. The colony fell silent. Workers dropped their tools, children clung to their parents, and animals fled in confusion. From the lead ship, a single door opened, glowing with a strange light that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. And then she appeared, the alien queen. She was taller than any human or alien anyone had ever seen. Her figure regal and terrifying at the same time. Her skin shimmered like molten silver, reflecting the sunlight in a way that made her seem almost unreal. Eyes the color of burning amber scanned the colony, and when they fixed on the humans, the air itself seemed to tremble. Around her, thousands of alien soldiers knelt instantly. They bowed with perfect synchronization, heads low, weapons touching the ground in submission. A wave of fear and awe swept over the human colonists. Some whispered that these aliens must be gods. Others prayed silently, hoping the queen would show mercy. All of them, except one. Captain Elena Marks stood at the center of the main plaza, her uniform dusty from a morning patrol. Her rifle hung loosely at her side, but her posture was rigid, unyielding. She did not kneel. She did not bow. She did not even flinch. Her eyes met the queen's, steady and unwavering. The queen's voice rang out, deep and powerful, vibrating through every building in the colony. "How dare you, human!" Elena swallowed hard but held her ground. Her mind raced. Every instinct told her to fall to her knees, to beg for mercy, to survive. But something stronger held her upright. Humanity's history was filled with stories of courage and defiance, of people standing for what was right even when the odds were impossible. And Elena carried that history in her heart. "You cannot command us," she said, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "We are humans. We do not kneel to anyone." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Whispers turned into murmurs, and murmurs into quiet shouts of agreement. The colonists began to gather closer to Elena, their fear battling with the spark of hope her courage ignited. The queen's expression shifted. Her amber eyes narrowed, and she tilted her head slightly, studying Elena as though examining a puzzle. "Interesting," she said softly. "Most creatures submit easily. You are unusual." Elena raised her chin. "I am human. We value freedom above all. You may be powerful, but you will not break us with fear." The queen's gaze swept across the colony. Her soldiers remained kneeling, weapons ready but obedient. "Do you understand the danger you face?" she asked. "Your defiance is meaningless. Surrender now, and I may show mercy. Resist, and all of this," she gestured to the colony, "will be destroyed." Elena looked at the trembling colonists, their faces pale but curious. She took a deep breath. "Then we will resist, together." The queen tilted her head again, almost amused. "You are bold, perhaps too bold." She raised a hand, and a pulse of energy shot toward the colony's edge. Rocks and dirt lifted into the air, swirling in a violent storm. But Elena did not flinch. She signaled to the colonists to move to safer positions, showing calm leadership. Then the queen spoke again, louder this time, her voice echoing in every corner of the plaza. "Human, do you think your courage is enough against the might of an empire?" Elena's hands tightened on her rifle, but she did not raise it. "It's not just courage," she said. "It's heart. It's the will to survive. And we have both in plenty." A hush fell over the crowd. Even the alien soldiers seemed to hesitate, their armor glinting in the strange green sunlight. For a moment, the colony felt frozen in time, the air thick with tension. Then a small child stepped forward. She was no older than 8, with wide, curious eyes. The crowd gasped again. Elena saw her and quickly moved closer, bending slightly to whisper, "It's okay. Stay behind me." But the child shook her head. "I want to help," she said bravely. Her tiny voice cut through the fear like a sword. Elena smiled softly, admiration shining through her tense features. "Then you will help by staying safe," she said. "We need everyone alive to face what comes next." The queen's eyes narrowed at the child's courage. She had ruled countless worlds, and yet something about humans, their stubbornness, their unpredictability made her pause. No other species had ever dared to challenge her directly, especially not in front of their own people. "Very well," the queen said slowly, almost contemplatively. "You will have your chance to prove yourselves. But know this, human defiance has a price." Elena squared her shoulders. "We are ready to pay it, if we must." A sudden roar erupted from the queen's ship, and she raised her hand again. Energy crackled in the air, lighting up the plaza. The colonists held their breath, expecting a strike that could end everything. But instead, the queen spoke in a tone that was both a challenge and an invitation. "Tomorrow, you will face trials," she said. "3 tests. Each will measure your courage, your mind, and your spirit. Succeed, and perhaps you will survive. Fail, and your world will become ashes." The humans exchanged nervous glances. Elena could feel their fear, but she also sensed something else, hope. For the first time, they weren't just victims, they were participants in a battle of wits, strength, and willpower. Elena took a deep breath, the wind tugging at her hair. She knew the trials would be dangerous, possibly deadly. But she also knew one truth: humans never gave up. Humans never bowed unless they chose to. And she would show the queen exactly why. As the sun set behind the alien fleet, the sky turned from green to deep orange. Shadows stretched across the plaza, making the queen's silhouette even more imposing. The colonists gathered closer to Elena, seeing in her not just a soldier, but a symbol of what it meant to be human, fearless, determined, and unbroken. The queen studied them, her amber eyes flickering with a mixture of curiosity and annoyance. "Interesting," she whispered again, almost to herself. "Perhaps this species is worth observing closely." Elena felt the weight of the moment, knowing that everything would change tomorrow. The peaceful colony, the quiet life they had built, it was gone. In its place stood a challenge, a test, and a choice, and she would meet it head on. The night fell, and for the first time, humans on Yalara did not sleep in fear. They stayed awake, talking quietly among themselves, preparing for the trials ahead. Somewhere deep inside, they all knew that tomorrow would be the day the galaxy truly saw what humans were capable of. Captain Elena Marks looked at the stars, shining far above the alien fleet, and whispered, almost to herself, "We will not kneel. Not today. Not ever." And for the first time since the aliens arrived, a small but undeniable smile appeared on the queen's face. The first light of dawn spilled over the colony, painting Yalara's hills with shades of gold and orange. The alien fleet remained overhead, their ships glinting like metal moons against the sky. The humans could no longer ignore the truth: they were under the watchful eyes of a power far greater than anything they had ever faced. Captain Elena Marks stood in the center of the plaza, her boots crunching on the dusty ground. Around her, the colonists were gathering, whispering nervously to each other. Families clutched their children, workers abandoned their tools, and even the older settlers, who had lived through tough days on Yalara, felt fear crawling up their spines. Yet there was also a spark of quiet determination that grew stronger with every glance toward Elena. A sudden hum filled the air, low and deep, vibrating through the plaza and making the hair on everyone's arms stand on end. The alien queen appeared on a raised platform in front of her fleet, her silver skin shimmering in the sunlight. Her soldiers knelt beside her, forming a perfect line of obedience. She raised one long, graceful hand, and the hum stopped instantly. "You humans have chosen defiance," the queen said, her amber eyes scanning the crowd. "Few species have dared to resist me. Fewer still have survived, Elena stepped forward, keeping her gaze steady. "We are not afraid," she said. "We face you not because we are strong, but because we value our freedom. We will never bow to oppression." The queen's lips curved into what could almost be called a smile, though it did not reach her eyes. "Very well, then you will face my challenge. 3 trials, 1 for courage, 1 for mind, and 1 for spirit. Survive them, and you may continue your lives. Fail, and your world will be erased." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Parents clutched their children tighter. Workers whispered prayers. But Elena did not flinch. She knew the queen's words were meant to intimidate, to crush hope before it had a chance to grow. Instead, she saw an opportunity to show the aliens the human spirit could not be tamed by fear. The queen gestured, and a platform rose from the ground, carrying Elena forward. She did not resist, even as the colonists shouted for her to be careful. She trusted herself, her training, and the will of every human who stood behind her. The platform lifted her high above the plaza, giving her a view of the alien fleet and the strange, glowing structures they had brought with them. When it reached the top, she stepped onto a walkway that seemed to float in midair. The queen's voice boomed around her. "Your first trial will test courage," the queen said. "A path lies before you. At its end is a device that will determine if your spirit is strong. Fail, and it will end you." Elena looked down. The walkway was narrow and suspended over a swirling chasm of energy, glowing with colors she could not name. She could see nothing beneath it but twisting currents of light, moving like rivers of fire and water at the same time. A misstep would mean instant death. Her hands tightened on the railing. Her heart beat fast, but she breathed deeply. Fear was natural, it was survival, but she refused to let it control her. Step by step, she moved forward, careful, deliberate. Halfway across, the walkway trembled. Shadows moved beneath her feet, forming shapes that seemed alive. Figures appeared, humanoid but twisted, their eyes glowing red. They whispered threats in a language Elena could not understand. She froze for a heartbeat, and then remembered why she was here. She was human. She did not kneel. She did not run from what she feared. She moved forward, her courage stronger than any shadow. The figures lunged, but the walkway shifted, turning their attacks into harmless illusions. Elena's confidence grew with each step. At last, she reached the end of the walkway. A small pedestal rose from the ground, and on it was a glowing orb. The energy from it pulsed in her hands as she touched it. A voice echoed in her mind, not the queen's, but her own, amplified. "Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear." The orb dimmed and vanished. Elena had passed the first trial. She looked back at the path she had crossed. Though her legs trembled and sweat ran down her face, she felt a surge of pride. She had faced death and emerged unbroken. The queen's voice rang out again. "Impressive. Few have shown such courage. But the next trial will test your mind. Do not be so confident." Elena followed the queen's instructions, walking into a massive chamber inside the lead ship. The walls shimmered with energy, forming a labyrinth that shifted as she moved. Strange symbols glowed and vanished, forming patterns she had never seen. A series of locks and mechanisms blocked her path, each one more complex than the last. She crouched, examining the first lock. Its symbols seemed random at first, but then she noticed patterns, repeating shapes, hidden sequences. She adjusted her approach, testing one combination after another. Every wrong choice triggered small traps, beams of light, walls that shifted suddenly, and bursts of energy that forced her to dodge quickly. Hours passed. The chamber was designed to exhaust her, to make her doubt herself, but Elena relied on training, logic, and intuition. She remembered her lessons from Earth puzzles, strategy games, teamwork exercises, and applied them in ways the queen could not predict. Slowly, methodically, she unlocked each barrier. Finally, she reached the center of the labyrinth. There, suspended in midair, was a crystal that radiated pure energy. As she reached for it, the chamber's walls melted into darkness. A voice spoke not with anger, but with curiosity. "You are clever," the queen said. "Most species would have failed long before now. Perhaps humans are. Different. Elena held the crystal firmly. Different doesn't mean weak, she said. It means we survive, we adapt, we think, we plan, we act. That is why we are still here. The chamber dissolved, leaving her back on solid ground outside the alien ship. She felt the weight of exhaustion, but she refused to show it. The colonists who had gathered below cheered softly, their fear slowly replaced with hope. The Queen's voice boomed once more. One trial remains, the trial of spirit. This will reveal the true measure of a human's heart. Only by showing strength, compassion, and unity will you survive. Elena understood immediately. Courage and intelligence were only part of what made humans strong. Their spirit, their connection to each other, their loyalty, and their ability to inspire hope was what truly set them apart. She turned to the colonists, their faces pale but determined. Listen, she said. The final trial is coming. We will face it together. Do not let fear control you. Trust in each other. That is our greatest strength. As the day turned to evening, the alien sky casting long shadows across the colony, the Queen's presence became almost tangible. Energy crackled in the air. Alien guards watched from above. But Elena did not falter. She knew that the trial would test not just her, but every human who had chosen to stand against the alien Queen. And she knew one more truth. The Queen had never faced humans like this before. A species that refused to bow, that faced danger with courage, that solved impossible challenges with intelligence, and now would stand together with unbreakable spirit. This was new. Elena took a deep breath, looking at the people around her, the men, women, and children of the colony. They were frightened, yes, but their eyes held something that could not be crushed. A spark of fire. Humanity's spirit. The Queen's voice echoed across the plaza one final time that night. Tomorrow, the final trial begins. Only then will I know if humans deserve to survive. Elena looked up at the sky, where the alien ships hovered silently. We will show you, she whispered. You will see what it means to be human. You will see that no force in the galaxy can break us, not fear, not power, not even you. The colonists gathered close, their whispers turning into quiet songs of courage and hope. For the first time since the aliens arrived, they felt that perhaps survival was possible. Not just survival, but triumph, and as the stars glimmered above, Elena knew the true trial was just beginning. The trial that would prove the humans' heart, their unity, and their unyielding spirit. The alien Queen watched silently, her amber eyes narrowed, curious and wary. She had underestimated humans before. Perhaps she would not make that mistake again. But it would take more than power and threats to crush them. Humanity had shown courage. Humanity had shown intelligence. And soon, they would show the strength of their spirit. The challenge was set, and the galaxy was about to witness the rise of something extraordinary. The sun had barely risen when the humans gathered at the center of the plaza. A hush fell over the crowd as the alien Queen appeared again, her silver skin gleaming in the soft morning light. Her amber eyes swept over the colonists, lingering on Captain Elena Marks. There was an intensity in her gaze, a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. Today, the Queen's voice boomed. You will face the final trial, the trial of spirit. Your courage and intelligence have been tested. Now, we will see the measure of your heart, your unity, and your will to protect each other. Elena took a deep breath, stepping forward. Around her, the colonists shifted nervously. Some clutched children close. Others stood silently, unsure what awaited them. But Elena's presence inspired them, giving a quiet confidence they did not know they possessed. The Queen waved her hand, and the ground before them transformed. The plaza melted away, replaced by a vast arena that seemed to float in midair. Its walls shimmered like glass, reflecting the sky and the alien fleet above. Strange symbols glowed along the edges, pulsing with energy. The air hummed, alive with power, and every human present felt it deep in their bones. Your task, the Queen announced, is simple to state, yet difficult to accomplish. You must reach the center of this arena. Along the way, you will face challenges that test your loyalty, compassion, and unity. Fail to act as one, and the trial will end your world. Elena glanced at the humans around her. Stay together, she said firmly. Watch out for each other. Remember, This is not just about one person, it's about all of us. A low rumble shook the arena, and the first challenge appeared. Walls rose suddenly from the floor, creating a maze that twisted and turned endlessly. Strange creatures appeared, neither fully solid nor fully energy, moving in unpredictable ways. They were aggressive but not lethal. Their purpose was to test resolve and cooperation. Elena moved forward cautiously, signaling others to follow. Do not fight unless you must, she instructed. Some of these creatures are illusions. Stay close, stay alert, and help anyone who falters. A young engineer stumbled on a shifting platform, losing balance. Elena lunged forward, grabbing his arm and pulling him to safety. Keep moving, she shouted. The colonists followed her lead, forming small groups that protected each other and navigated the maze carefully. The queen watched silently from her platform, intrigued by the humans' behavior. She had seen other species face similar tests, but most panicked, turning on each other in fear. Humans did not. They adapted. They helped one another. They communicated in ways she had not anticipated. As they progressed, another challenge appeared. A chasm split the ground ahead, glowing with an unstable energy that pulsed and shifted like fire. The bridge across it was thin, and the slightest misstep would send someone plummeting into the void. Elena stepped onto the bridge first, testing it carefully. One at a time, she instructed. Hold hands if you need to. Trust each other. Slowly, the humans crossed. Some hesitated, but Elena's calm and firm voice guided them. When a plank shifted beneath a young woman, Elena reached down, steadying her and urging her forward. Every action required attention and care, but together, they crossed safely. The queen's amber eyes narrowed slightly. Humans, she thought, were stronger in ways she had not considered. Not just strong in body or mind, but strong in spirit. Their ability to act as a group, to think of others, to inspire courage in the weak was a force she had underestimated. The next trial was subtler. A corridor opened, lined with mirrors that reflected not the humans' physical forms, but their fears and doubts. Some saw their failures, others saw loved ones in danger, and a few even saw the destruction of the colony. The illusions whispered, trying to break their resolve. Elena stepped forward, closing her eyes for a moment. These are not real, she said to herself. They cannot control us. We face the truth together. She turned to the humans behind her. Do not let these visions scare you. Look at each other. That is real. We are real. We will face this together. Slowly, they walked through the corridor, hands brushing shoulders, supporting each other. The illusions tried to separate them, whispering lies and fears, but Elena's leadership, combined with their unity, carried them through. Every time someone wavered, another offered encouragement or a steady hand. Finally, they reached a vast open space in the center of the arena. At its heart floated a glowing crystal, radiating warmth and light. Elena stepped forward. This is it, she said. The goal is not just to touch it, it's to reach it together. But as they approached, the queen's final test began. Energy barriers rose between them, forcing the humans to split into smaller groups. Each barrier was impossible to climb alone, requiring cooperation across the gaps. People shouted instructions, formed human chains, and even used planks and equipment from the colony to bridge spaces. Elena moved quickly, helping each group connect, using her knowledge of the colony's tools and engineering to solve the puzzles. The humans worked together seamlessly, their bonds of trust and loyalty stronger than any physical barrier. At one point, a small child was trapped on a narrow ledge with a glowing energy barrier rising behind her. Elena ran, using a rope to secure her, pulling her to safety just in time. The colonists cheered quietly, realizing that courage was not just about fighting, it was about protecting each other. Even when it meant personal risk, the queen's voice rang out again, curious and almost approving. So, humans truly care for one another. Perhaps this is why your species survives against impossible odds. Finally, after hours of careful movement and problem solving, the humans reached the crystal. Together, they stepped forward, placing their hands upon it. A pulse of energy surged outward, and the arena dissolved. The plaza returned, calm and intact. as if nothing had changed, but everyone knew differently. Elena looked at the humans around her. Faces were tired, smeared with dust and sweat, but glowing with pride. They had faced illusions, danger, and fear, yet had emerged united and stronger than before. The queen appeared before them, hovering slightly above the ground. Her expression was unreadable at first, then slowly softened. "You have passed the trial of spirit," she said. "Few species demonstrate such courage, intelligence, and unity. Humans, you are." Remarkable. Elena stepped forward, still breathing heavily. "We did not do this alone. Every human here contributed. That is what makes us strong." The queen tilted her head. "Strength, yes, but more than that, I see compassion, loyalty, and the will to protect each other. Qualities I have rarely witnessed in my empire." The colonists whispered among themselves, awe and disbelief mingling in their voices. They had survived the trials of courage, mind, and spirit not just as individuals, but as a community. They realized that their unity, their willingness to act together, was more powerful than any weapon or alien force. Elena turned to them, her voice steady and strong. "Remember this. It is not only skill or strength that makes a human formidable. It is heart. It is courage. It is standing together, even when fear threatens to break us. That is who we are." The queen studied them for a long moment. Then she raised her hand, and her voice echoed with both authority and something to respect. "Humans, you have shown me that your species is worthy of survival. I will not destroy this world. You may continue to live, but know this, your spirit is not gone unnoticed. You are different from all others I have encountered, perhaps. In time, you may even become a worthy ally." The humans cheered softly, careful not to provoke the queen further, yet grateful for the acknowledgement. Elena smiled faintly, though her mind was already turning to what lay ahead. They had survived the trials, but the galaxy was vast, and new challenges were sure to come. That night, as the alien fleet hovered silently above the colony, Elena walked through the plaza. Children slept peacefully, families gathered close, and for the first time in days, there was laughter, soft, hesitant, but genuine. The trials had tested them, pushed them to their limits, yet they had emerged stronger. Elena paused, looking up at the stars. "We have shown her," she whispered. "We are humans, brave, clever, and united, and we will never kneel unless we choose to." Somewhere above, the alien queen watched silently, her amber eyes gleaming. She had underestimated humans, and now she understood why they were so feared across the stars. Their courage, intelligence, and spirit were unlike anything she had ever encountered. Elena knew the trials were only the beginning. The real test of leadership, strategy, and survival was still to come. But for now, humans had proven one undeniable truth. No matter the threat, no matter the odds, humanity would endure. And in that endurance lay a power that even the alien queen could not ignore. The morning sun cast long shadows across the colony, and the alien ships still hovered like silent giants above Yalara. The humans had survived the trials of courage, mind, and spirit. But Captain Elena Marks knew the Queen's gaze was sharper than ever. Today, the test would shift from survival to confrontation. The Queen descended slowly from her lead ship, her silver form reflecting the sunlight. The plaza grew silent as she landed, surrounded by her kneeling soldiers. Elena stepped forward, standing tall and steady. Around her, the colonists formed a protective circle, ready to follow her lead. "You humans," the Queen said, her amber eyes narrowing, "have passed my trials. You have shown courage, intelligence, and unity. Yet you still defy me. Most species, when faced with the impossible, submit. Why do you resist?" Elena met her gaze without fear. "Because we value freedom. Because we do not bow unless we choose to. Because humanity's strength lies in standing together, even against impossible odds." The Queen's expression flickered, a hint of curiosity breaking through her usual command. "Very well, then let us see if your defiance can withstand real strategy, not just tests and illusions." Suddenly, the ground shook. The Queen raised her hand, and massive energy barriers sprang up around the colony, trapping the humans inside. Alien soldiers advanced, their weapons glowing with dangerous power. Yet Elena did not panic. She signaled for the colonists to form defensive positions, guiding them with calm authority. "Remember what we learned," she shouted. "Together, we can overcome anything. Watch each other's backs. Use your minds, not just your strength." The first wave of alien soldiers advanced. They were strong, precise, and well-trained. But Elena had already noticed a pattern in their movements during the trials. Using their own coordination against them, she led small teams to flank the soldiers, disarming some and dodging attacks with careful timing. Every move was deliberate, every human relying on another to succeed. The Queen observed silently, her amber eyes narrowing. Humans were not just brave, they were clever, adapting quickly to strategies she had not anticipated. She had assumed their power lay only in courage or numbers, but she saw now that their greatest strength was their unpredictability and coordination. Elena spotted a group of soldiers preparing to breach a research building. "Move," she shouted. A team of engineers and workers quickly formed a chain, using planks, ropes, and debris from the colony to create barriers and block the soldiers' advance. Some distracted the aliens while others prepared tools that could disable their energy weapons temporarily. The plan worked. The soldiers were delayed, giving the colonists time to regroup. Elena breathed heavily but did not relax. She knew the Queen would escalate the confrontation soon. Then the Queen acted. She raised her hands, and a massive wave of energy erupted, sweeping across the plaza. Buildings shook, and the ground cracked, forcing humans to hold each other steady. Elena grabbed a young engineer and pulled him behind a sturdy wall. "Keep calm," she yelled. "Do not panic. We face this together." The energy pulse subsided, leaving the plaza scarred but the humans intact. Elena scanned the crowd. No one had been left behind. Her heart swelled with pride. Every human she saw was alive, standing, and ready. That was the proof of their spirit stronger than any weapon the Queen could wield. The Queen's voice rang out, both commanding and intrigued. "Impressive. Yet this is only the beginning. I will test not just your courage, but your leadership and your ability to act as one." Elena's mind raced. The Queen was challenging more than physical strength. Now she wanted to see if humans could organize, strategize, and resist overwhelming power. She had anticipated this and had already begun instructing teams, dividing responsibilities, and preparing contingency plans. "Everyone who can fight, take positions here," Elena directed, pointing to key entry points. "Engineers, set up barricades and traps. Medics, be ready to help anyone injured. Scouts, keep alert and communicate what you see. Together, we can control this plaza." The humans obeyed. Their fear was still present, but it was balanced by trust in their leader and trust in each other. For the first time, the Queen realized that human defiance was not a chaotic reaction, it was organized, intelligent, and remarkably effective. A group of alien soldiers advanced toward the main plaza, moving with precision. Elena noticed a pattern in their formation. She quickly instructed to teams to act as decoys while another team prepared to cut off the flanks. The decoys lured the aliens into a trap, where humans using makeshift barricades and quick-thinking maneuvers slowed them down. The Queen raised her hand again, sending a surge of energy to force the humans back. Elena called for coordinated movement, and the colonists responded. Pushing forward despite the power pressing against them, the Queen watched, her amber eyes widening. This was not a species that submitted to fear or power. This was a species that thought, adapted, and acted in ways she had not predicted. She realized that sheer force would not succeed. Intelligence, unity, and leadership, the combination of these traits made humans formidable opponents. Elena moved swiftly through the plaza, helping a team trapped behind debris. "We do not leave anyone behind," she said. "Stay with me. We move as one." The humans responded with quiet determination. They lifted debris together, pulled each other from danger, and even redirected energy pulses by using shields and reflective materials crafted from their surroundings. Every obstacle became a chance to demonstrate coordination and ingenuity. The Queen hovered above, analyzing every move. Perhaps I underestimated them, she whispered to herself. Perhaps humans are more capable than I believed. Elena noticed the Queen's hesitation. She took a calculated risk. If we act together, we can show her that humans do not just survive, we overcome. She signaled the colonists to form a line and push toward the main alien forces. With clever diversions, using traps and barricades to delay attacks, step by step, humans advanced, never breaking formation. Soldiers faltered, engineers improvised, medics supported, and scouts guided the way. Elena's leadership allowed them to fight without chaos, using strategy over brute force. The Queen's expression shifted from curiosity to something closer to admiration. Her amber eyes followed Elena closely. So, humans can lead, organize, and inspire each other, she said softly. Perhaps the species deserves more than I ever imagined. Finally, after hours of careful maneuvering and resistance, the humans had not only survived, they had gained control of the plaza. The alien soldiers, forced to retreat, regrouped under the Queen's command. Yet even in retreat, they were cautious, aware that humans had become a force that required respect. Elena stood in the center of the plaza, breathing heavily but steady. Around her, the colonists were alive, unified, and confident. They had faced overwhelming power and survived because they had acted as one, guided by leadership, courage, and intellect. The Queen landed before Elena once again. Her amber eyes were no longer filled with anger, but with a kind of measured respect. You humans have shown me something unexpected, she said. Not only do you possess courage and intelligence, but you demonstrate leadership, loyalty, and unity that few species can match. Today, you have proven yourselves remarkable. Elena bowed her head slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement, not submission. We will always defend our people and our freedom, she said. That is what makes us human. It is who we are. The Queen's lips curved in a faint smile. Very well, your colony shall remain intact. I will not destroy your world for now. But remember this, strength alone does not define a species. Heart, unity, and the will to act together, that is what makes you formidable. Elena nodded. Turning to her people, we have proven ourselves today, she said. Not because we are stronger individually, but because we stood together. Remember this, our strength is in our unity. Our courage, intelligence, and spirit will guide us through anything. The colonists cheered, their voices strong and filled with pride. They had faced not only trials, but real danger, and they had prevailed. They had learned that survival was not enough. What mattered was how they faced threats, how they acted as a community, and how they refused to bow to fear. As the alien ships slowly lifted from the colony, Elena knew this was only the beginning. The Queen's acknowledgement was important, but the galaxy was vast, and new challenges would come. Yet one truth remained undeniable. Humanity had shown a combination of courage, intelligence, and unity that no force could easily break, and in that unity, there lay a power that would shape the future. The sky over Yalara glowed with shades of orange and gold as the sun climbed higher. The alien fleet hovered silently, their shadows stretching over the colony like a dark curtain. Captain Elena Marks stood in the center of the plaza, her eyes scanning the horizon. The humans around her moved quietly, their faces tired but resolute. Today, the final confrontation would take place not just against the Queen's power, but against the limits of what the humans could achieve together. The alien Queen appeared above the plaza, her silver form shimmering in the sunlight. Her amber eyes focused on Elena. There was no anger now, only curiosity, and something closer to admiration. Humans, she said, her voice echoing through the colony. You have passed trials I designed to test courage, intelligence, and spirit. You have survived impossible challenges and acted as one. Yet, a question remains. Do you possess the strength to shape your own destiny when faced with my might? Elena stepped forward, standing tall and unyielding. We do, she said, not because we are the strongest in power, but because we stand together. Humanity thrives in courage, intelligence, and unity. That is our strength. The Queen studied her, the wind carrying the faint hum of energy from her ships. Then, with a slow, deliberate gesture, she raised a hand. The plaza transformed once more, but this time it was not an illusion or a trap. Towers of alien energy rose from the ground, creating a labyrinth that stretched in every direction. The Queen's soldiers emerged, fully armed, moving with precision and coordination. "You will face me directly," the Queen said. "Show me the full measure of your species. Lead them, human, and demonstrate why you deserve to survive." Elena's heart pounded. But she did not falter. She turned to the colonists. "Remember everything we have learned," she said firmly. "Courage, intelligence, and spirit. We act as one, and no force can break us if we remain united." The humans followed her without hesitation. They had survived trials, illusions, and attacks, but this was different. This was not a test of endurance alone, it was a battle of strategy, trust, and leadership. The alien soldiers advanced first. Their formation was perfect, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. Elena signaled the humans to split into groups, some providing distractions while others prepared traps and defensive positions. She moved quickly, guiding the teams with precision, predicting the aliens' moves in advance. A surge of energy shot toward the humans, forcing them to scatter. Elena ran alongside a group of engineers, ducking behind a makeshift barrier. "We move together," she shouted. "Watch each other's backs." The humans acted as one. They used debris, energy shields, and clever diversions to block attacks and slow the soldiers' advance. One young scout noticed a pattern in the alien movements and signaled it to Elena, who adjusted the team's positions immediately. Every action was coordinated. Every human relied on another to succeed. The Queen watched carefully, her amber eyes reflecting the humans' movements. She had faced countless species across the galaxy, yet none had reacted with such combination of courage, intelligence, and unity. Humans were unpredictable in ways she had not anticipated. They did not rely solely on strength. They relied on each other. Elena spotted a group of soldiers attempting to flank a cluster of colonists. She ran toward them, directing one team to block the front while another used ropes and planks to create a barrier. Behind, her quick thinking allowed the colonists to escape without harm. "Stay calm. Use your minds," Elena shouted. "Together, we are stronger than their power." The humans moved with growing confidence. They had survived every trial because they trusted each other, and now that trust gave them courage. Even when the alien soldiers pressed forward, they held their ground, working as a single, cohesive unit. The Queen lifted her hands, sending waves of energy across the plaza. Buildings shook, and the ground trembled. Elena guided the humans to move with the rhythm of the pulses, using timing and coordination to avoid danger. The humans adapted quickly, their ingenuity turning the Queen's attacks into opportunities to outmaneuver the soldiers. The colonists began to see something remarkable. They were not just surviving, they were thriving. Each person contributed, whether by distracting enemies, creating barriers, or helping the injured. Elena's calm leadership inspired courage in everyone. She moved through the plaza, a beacon of determination, ensuring that no one was left behind. The Queen hovered above, analyzing every movement. "Humans," she said softly, "your species is extraordinary. Most would have broken under fear, yet you do not just resist, you lead, inspire, and adapt. Perhaps this is why you endure." Elena smiled faintly, though her eyes never left the battlefield. "We survive," she said, "because we act as one. Courage is nothing without unity. Intelligence is useless without heart, and spirit is meaningless if it does not inspire others. That is what makes humans strong." The humans pressed forward, finally reaching the center of the plaza where the Queen hovered. She extended her hand, and a massive surge of energy rose from the ground, creating a barrier of swirling light. Elena raised her hands, signaling the humans to stay united. Together, they approached the barrier, using makeshift tools, quick thinking, and cooperation. The humans found weaknesses in the energy flow. Some created reflective shields, others coordinated movement to redirect energy pulses. And the youngest scouts pointed out the patterns in the Queen's power. Step by step, they advanced, showing not just courage, but intelligence, teamwork, and ingenuity. The Queen's eyes widened slightly. "So, humans do not rely on strength alone. You combine mind, spirit, and courage to overcome even the impossible. Fascinating. Finally, Elena reached the barrier. She turned to the humans around her. Together, she said, "We act together." All at once, every human touched the barrier. The energy pulsed, then shattered, dissipating into the air. The plaza returned to calm, the alien soldiers stepping back, uncertain and wary. The humans stood in the center, united and triumphant. The queen descended slowly, landing in front of Elena. Her expression was no longer stern or commanding, it was thoughtful, almost reverent. "Humans," she said, her voice softer, "I have underestimated your species. You possess courage, intelligence, and spirit beyond what I imagined. You have shown leadership, unity, and resilience. You do not kneel because of fear, you stand because of heart. And that is remarkable." Elena bowed slightly, not in submission, but in acknowledgement of the queen's words. "We do not seek your approval," she said. "We simply live as humans together, courageous and free." The queen regarded the humans for a long moment, then finally spoke. "You have changed my perception. I will not destroy your world. You may continue to live, and I will allow your species autonomy. Perhaps, in time, humans will become not just survivors, but allies in the galaxy. That is your reward, not mercy, but recognition of what you truly are." The colonists cheered softly, their voices carrying pride and relief. They had faced impossible trials, overwhelming power, and yet emerged victorious not because of brute strength, but because of courage, intelligence, and unity. Elena looked around at the humans, her heart swelling with pride. They had learned something essential. Survival alone was not enough. To truly endure, they needed to act together, protect each other, and lead with heart as well as mind. The queen hovered above, her amber eyes watching the humans, and for the first time, there was no threat in her gaze. There was respect, recognition, and perhaps, in some distant future, even friendship. Elena turned to the colony. Families hugged, workers laughed softly, and children ran freely, playing amidst the ruins of the plaza that had been transformed into a battlefield of courage. They had survived, yes, but more than that. They had proven the extraordinary strength of being human. "We did this," Elena whispered to herself, looking at the sky. "Not because we are strongest, but because we never gave up, because we stand together, because we are human." The queen's voice echoed one last time across the plaza, calm and solemn. "Humans, you have shown me what it truly means to endure, to lead, and to survive. Your spirit is worthy. Remember this and carry it into the stars. Perhaps, one day, you will teach others what it means to be human." As the alien fleet lifted from the sky, leaving the colony intact, Elena knew that the trials had changed them all. The humans had proven themselves not just to the queen, but to themselves. Courage, intelligence, unity, and spirit were their true weapons, and the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. The sun set over Yalara, casting long shadows across the plaza, but the light that shone from the humans was stronger than any darkness. Elena stood at the center, watching her people, knowing that their story had only just begun. Humanity had survived the impossible, and now they would thrive. The alien queen vanished into her ship, leaving the humans to their lives, their freedom, and their pride. Elena looked to the stars, whispering softly, "We will never kneel. Not today, not ever." And in that moment, every human in the colony understood something undeniable. Together, nothing, not power, fear, or alien might could break them. Humanity had proven its place in the galaxy.